Hello, international lawyers and law students. I'm Catherine Mason. I'm the director of Cambridge Law Studio, and I apologise, but I was one of the founders of the Test of Legal English Skills. You can download our free vocabulary PDF today to go with this lesson. And you know what? It wasn't written by ChatGPT. It was written by me in our classroom in Cambridge. Everything we give you is, so it's worth having. Download it if you can. Welcome to our quick legal vocabulary class. Creditor. A creditor is someone to whom you owe money. The opposite of creditor is debtor. A debtor is someone who owes money to you. The most important verb in understanding what a creditor is the verb to owe. O-W-E, one of the most important verbs a lawyer can learn. So, a creditor is someone who is waiting for you to pay them. Imagine I borrow £200,000 from a bank to buy my house. The bank is now my creditor, and I am now a debtor of the bank. I owe money to the bank. They're my creditor. Let's imagine my business has many creditors. For example, I run a pub, typical English pub. This month, I owe money to the landlord of my premises, several suppliers, and my bank, but I cannot pay any of them. So here I am in trouble with my creditors, and this is actually true of a lot of traditional English pubs. It's our way of life to go to the pub, get some fish and chips after, and we want to save our pubs, but they really are a good example at the moment of a business in trouble with creditors. So I don't own the pub. I pay rent to a landlord. That's creditor number one. I have a supplier for beer and a different supplier for wine. I owe both of them money. They're creditors 2 and 3. But it's creditor 4, the bank, that's going to be my biggest problem. I can't pay any of them, but let's take a look at why the bank is the particular problem. The danger to my business is that one of these creditors will start legal action for payment, and I will lose and have a court judgment against me. Why will I lose? Because I owe the money. I'm not disputing that I owe the money. My problem is I can't pay it. So if a creditor begins legal action for payment, I've got no defence, really. And then you get a court judgment, and that has serious implications in life after that's on your public record. The worst thing that can happen is that a creditor will start bankruptcy or winding up proceedings against me. What is the difference between bankruptcy and winding up? Actually, they describe the same process. In both bankruptcy and winding up, I lose my assets. My assets are things that have value that can be sold. I lose them. They are sold and the creditors are paid. So how are they different? Well, bankruptcy refers to a sole trader business, someone who's self-employed and did not incorporate, and winding up describes that process for a company an incorporated business. Could be a private limited company or public, but when a creditor takes legal action to sell your assets to get their money back, if you're a sole trader, it's bankruptcy proceedings. And if you are a company, limited, private, or public company, we say it's winding up. But both of them are terrible. If you are the subject of them, you lose your assets are sold, and the creditors get paid. Now, the bankruptcy court and winding up, same process, will divide the creditors into two groups: secured creditors and unsecured creditors. The secured creditors have asked for security in advance of me creating the debt. For example, the bank will probably have a mortgage over my house or my land. So, okay, I own a pub, my business is in trouble, I cannot pay my creditors. I said the bank was the most serious, and the reason is that security. The security is the legal right contained in a mortgage. A mortgage is the bank's right to take my house if necessary and sell it to get their money back. And the bank would not give me credit. They would not create the debt without that security. Banks don't make that kind of mistake, not for large amounts of money. But the people who supply my beer and the people who supply my wine for the pub, they are probably unsecured. They probably allowed me to create that debt, and in doing so, they took a risk. And unfortunately, I was a bad risk. Banks don't do that. So a bank is usually a secured creditor, and the security is in the form of the mortgage they've got on my house. And if winding up proceedings happen or bankruptcy proceedings in the UK, I will lose that house. We don't have the protection that some countries have, where if it's your only home, you can't lose it. You can. Congratulations! You can now use the word creditor like a legal professional. Never, never confuse creditor and debtor. You owe your creditor money, the debtor owes you money. And that verb to owe, O-W-E, look it up and translate it. To practice these words and more for free, download that PDF. Took me a long time to write it and a lot of years of experience, and it's absolutely free. Link in the description below. Bye for now.